Mm. Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Let me get this pinned up because currently we have light coming through and we cannot have that. So, good morning. Everybody had a great night's sleep. It's Tuesday, January 9th, the second day of the first full week of the market. And I couldn't wait to get back to business as usual. I love the holidays, all that great stuff. Volume is for the birds, as we definitively proved yesterday with nVDA, AMD, MRVL, Google, what else? Meta, what else? There were so many things, right, that just came through with big returns, right? Multiple 100+% return trades. I feel like that's what you want to see, right? Out of the first day back for markets with everybody back in full force with full volume. Unfortunately, I had left my laptop charger in another spot, and I only had what ended up being a half hour's worth of battery. Turns out a half hour is all you needed with the action we got yesterday to bring home tons of percent return, right? We had multiple 100+% return trades in the first 30 minutes of the market day. And I feel like I want to make sure that I hammer home that's why it's so important to have the correct expectations and have these little anecdotal bits of information to understand what to expect, right? Because expectations are everything. And those that, were expecting us to come out guns blazing last week likely ended up getting their feelings hurt because that's not what happened, right? We were stuck in a parallel channel. We nailed that. We nailed the exact bottom of the market with where that parallel channel fell to. It was right to the price target, made that money off the downside, right? Hedged any longs, and now those longs are back on their way up if they ever stopped going on the way up, right? So being able to bob and weave and change gears and all that is so important to the market. And the backbone of all of that is your expectations, right? Your expectations. So a beautiful Monday, right? A beautiful way to get the week kicked off. I'm grateful for that. Now we wipe that slate clean and we come into today looking to see what else the market has for us. But an amazing Monday to get things kicked off, and I'm happy to be back where we can get full volume here and get back to our regularly scheduled programming. In terms of top news, tech tunes in to CES. I was watching some clips because there's always some cool tech that drops for CES. But what's even cooler is for us as people, right, to make sure we get 1% better each day. So before I move on, make sure you're dropping that one in the chat, signifying your intention to do just that. We want you to get 1% better, right? So that when it's time to execute, you're ready to do so, right? And you do so quickly and with conviction. But back to CES here. CES 2024, the world's largest consumer electronics show, kicks off today with a slew of new product launches by tech heavyweights. While the event is usually headlined by the presence of flashy cars, new PCs, and TVs, analysts expect this year's attention to be on, can you take a guess? AI, right? Artificial intelligence. New launches. nVIDIA took the wraps off its GeForce RTX 40 Super Series family of GPUs as it looks to maintain its lead in the space. AMD gained more than 4.5% after it introduced its new Radeon RX 6700 XT graphics card, with other semiconductor names participating at the event rising too. PC makers Acer, Lenovo, and Dell, among others, have all launched new high-performance laptops. CES has become more of a car show in recent years, and automakers including BMW, Ford, and GM are expected to have a large showing. Increased use of AI in cars will also be a major theme, as well as advanced driving assistance systems and autonomous driving. Sony and Honda, whose ticker are SONY, and then Honda HMC, showcased their joint venture, the Afeela electric car, the highlight of which was the electronics maker's COO driving the car on stage with the PS5 controller. Weird flex, but okay, right? I don't know if anybody's looking to drive a car with a PlayStation controller. Maybe that's something that becomes a sport of the future. But cool. Bigger picture, sleek new cars and tech gear may garner the attention of CES floor walkers, but at the end of the day, the theme of the event is still focused on two letters: AI. More than half of all companies that Wedbush surveyed said that they see more than 20 use cases for generative AI, and over 80% said they see 10 or more, including data analysis and marketing content creation, to improve efficiency. Quote, we believe companies will be executing and building off of this trend with CES, a major launching pad to kick off 2024 as software, chip, and hardware tech players bet heavily on AI.
said Wedbush analyst Dan Ives. Yeah, I mean, that's the expectation, right? Everybody's going to come out with something relating to AI, so it'll just be cool to see kind of what comes about, and if I see anything fun or interesting, I might repost it, throw it on the Instagram reel there. In terms of aviation news, loose bolts. United Airlines found loose bolts on multiple wow, Boeing cannot catch a break. On multiple Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes during inspections carried out after a metal door plug blew off an Alaskan Airlines plane soon after takeoff on Friday. Alaska Airlines also identified loose hardware on some 737 MAX planes, raising more concerns about the aircraft's quality controls. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating Friday's incident, while Boeing is inspecting the plugs on undelivered MAX 9 jets at its Washington factory and at Spirit Aerosystems' Kansas plant. Seeing Alpha analyst Tim Dunn sees schedule interruptions for several airlines, but Boeing and Spirit Aero, which makes the 737 fuselages, will likely bear the brunt of the investor concern. So SPR is another ticker, that can be impacted here. Let's see what exactly happened with them. Yeah, so I mean, obviously coming into yesterday, they gapped down. They made up some of that ground, and they're kind of sitting flat here overnight. But there is potential for a bit of bear flag action if we break that low, that little swing low right before close yesterday. So something that's worth watching here on Spirit Aerosystems. I've never traded it before, so I won't pretend like I know anything about the stock. Let's look here. Are they optionable? Yes. Are the spreads kind of wide? Yes, but we can see how it looks, at open. But yeah, you definitely, you guys know the rules of making our trades. If that bid ask spread is too wide, we ain't stepping inside. So yeah, Spirit Aerosystems SPR, something that could continue to kind of get shellacked a little bit alongside Boeing. Let's check out Boeing. Boeing yesterday gapped down, popped up and then went back down. And if we lose, that low that we have put in right now, what's that low? 224.5, right? We lose that on the hourly. I feel like we can continue to see downside for Boeing. So I'm not looking to immediately dive into Boeing puts at open or anything like that, but I am watching, right? Even really because that candle is kind of from the gap down arena. I kind of like the pre-market low. It's not that one. Let me see here. 225.9. Kind of like that. That was like a solid support area throughout the day. I feel like we lose that on hourly. And in that overall low too, 224.5. But I feel like beneath whatever that is, 225.90 on the hourly, Boeing sees more downside. So let's see here. And again, I will make no, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I won't hide or anything about the situation. I do not like Boeing. I don't like Boeing. I don't trade it a lot. I don't trust it, right? But one time, that I do trust Boeing is sometimes I'm trying to short it. So we'll see, kind of what happens with Boeing and what we can get, from this, if we get anything. And that's the main thing, is that I want to see the price action happen. Them seeing loose bolts doesn't necessarily mean that Boeing continues to drop, but it does mean that that's still on the radar, right? So watching Boeing, got the alert set, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, back in hot water again, man. They got me not wanting to fly. In terms of economic news, adjusted stance. Federal Reserve Governor Michelle Bowman, a longstanding hawk, has adjusted her stance to signal that interest rate hikes are likely over, although she does not believe rate cuts are appropriate just yet. Based on the progress made on inflation over the past 6 months, Bowman's view has evolved to consider the possibility that the rate of inflation could decline further with the policy rate held at the current level for some time. However, she pointed to upside risks to inflation from the food and energy markets, the recent easing in financial conditions, and continued labor market tightness. I recommend scaling back on bets on declining interest rates for now, said Seeking Alpha analyst Jeremy Blum in his review of the latest jobs data. It's higher for longer this time. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see, Jeremy. Unfortunately, we don't really have that in our, in our genetic makeup. Plus, with a reel that you'll see dropping this week, right? I'll go back over one of the reasons why there is strong belief that the interest rate cuts will start in March. Also, one of them being that it's an election year, right? It's an election year, and There ain't no way Biden isn't working every single tool that he has in the tool belt in order to get things super booming by the time we go back to the polls. Because, we have memory like goldfish, right? He knows that we're going to remember the most recent things that happened, and that'll impact, where we cast our ballots. In terms of merger and acquisition news, Juniper Networks, ticker JNPR, jumped 23% after hours Monday as Hewlett Packard Enterprise in advanced talks to buy the networking name for about $30 billion. Shares of HPE fell 8.6% in post-market trade. The deal, which could be announced as soon as this week, will likely boost HPE's artificial intelligence position via Juniper's Mist AI, which optimizes wireless access. Juniper is worth a little under $10 billion after declining about $5 billion over the past, about 5% over the past year. Prior to the development, Seeking Alpha analyst Normad Capital noted that HPE's long-term growth outlook remained bright, given strong demand for high-performance computing and AI. So congrats to Juniper Networks. Again, when news like this comes out, it's not really anything that's of interest to me, because unless you could see the future and you knew that Juniper was about to get acquired, it's like there's not really much to do with that information now after a 23% move to the upside. In terms of today's markets, mixed bag, but more so red than anything in Asia. Japan, we're up 1.2%, Hong Kong down 0.2%, China up 0.2%, India flat. In London, we're down 0.1%, Paris down 0.4%, Frankfurt down 0.5%, the Dow down 0.5%, S&P down 0.5%, NASDAQ down 0.6%. Crude, we're up 2.3%, gold up 0.3%, Bitcoin up 4% to 46,714. Today's economic calendar, nothing really important going on here. So we'll finish up with our rapid fire stock news rundown. What else is happening? Exxon Koch Industries rejected by Supreme Court in climate lawsuit. Cathie Wood expects spot Bitcoin ETF approval this week. JetBlue, ticker JBLU, CEO Hayes to step down, COO Garrity to succeed. Sony plans to call off $10 billion merger with Z Entertainment. Another one bites the dust when it comes to M&A. 4 drug makers under Senate probe over asthma inhaler pricing. ByteDance, ticker BDNCE, eyes sale of gaming asset, Tencent in fray. Activist Elliott builds $1 billion stake in Tinder parent Match Group. Unity Software, ticker U, slashes 25% jobs as it refocuses its core business. And then JD.com's Data Nexus, ticker, maybe it's pronounced Dada Nexus. Other ticker is Dada. Audit uncovers suspicious practices. Oh no, there's suspicious practices in a Chinese-based company. Whoever would have thought, right? Anybody remember Luckin Coffee, right? Or any of the other tons of Chinese companies that have committed fraud, just for the sake of saving face. It's the reason why it's tough to be invested long-term, right, in Chinese companies. And again, not, anti this or anti that. It's just one of those things where if over and over and over again, you prove yourself untrustworthy, I can't, make that. I can't make that commitment myself because I'm doing it to myself. I just had a thought just as I was, seeing activists, investor Elliott building a $1 billion stake in Match Group. I just wonder if they're working on anything AI related, because I know something that's been like big is like AI, companions and partners and AI friends, AI girlfriends. I wonder if Match Group has something coming down the pipeline for that, and that's why they are taking a stance, in Match. I would not be surprised at all, because the world is changing rapidly, and as weird, as freaky as that is, I could see a ton of people, subscribing to that, and they just have an AI girlfriend. So that was just a thought that came to mind. There's nothing that I had to substantiate it, but it might be worth more research. But yeah, pretty crazy times. Absolutely crazy times. Imagine getting invited to a wedding and it's somebody in their AI. Wild. But anyways, that'll wrap it up. Put a bow on it. We started Monday off super hot, but that does not bring any bearing into Tuesday, right? Fresh slate, fresh day. It's great to get, off on a good foot, but we want to make sure that we bring the correct expectations, that correct mindset back to the market. That same mindset that allowed us to take advantage of all the opportunity yesterday, right? Make sure that we remain patient today and ready to execute and continue to have a great week, right? Everybody have a great rest of the day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Got our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.